I went into this realm, I was on a very strict calorie restricted diet. I had maybe 20 or 30 pounds on me that was more than what my body should be holding. I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I would work out, I'd have very calorie restrictive specific foods that I would be eating throughout the day, no sugar, all organic, everything was perfect. I lost 0 pounds. I did this for a month straight, and it wasn't until years later recognizing, oh, there's medications that I was on birth control. Once I started getting off of these medications, it was like night and day, especially the birth control. I got off the birth control and I lost like 20 pounds without doing anything. So it really went to show that, there are things that I'm putting in my body, and it doesn't matter how much I'm doing. Doesn't matter what I'm restricting or keeping from myself, which then just caused like a psychological thing. So I was depriving myself. So then I would go eat chocolate and I'd like way overdo it.
You're listening to Cleanse, Heal, Ignite podcast, and I'm your hostess, Diane Kaiser, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, former pro soccer player, transformational leader, holistic healer, and life purpose coach, helping you and your business awaken to your full potential. We are a transformation tribe of visionaries empowering passion-quenching, heart-centered advice to wellness warrior leaders on self-love, nutrition, mindset, and divorcing perfectionism. Our mission is to help you laugh your way to a sexy belly, love your way to vitality, and live your life with purpose by sharing real talk and truth drops that will help you cleanse your body, heal your hormones, and ignite your life. Side effects of this podcast may include all-day energy, happy hormones, perfect poops, increased confidence, becoming your own best healer, and catching the self-love virus. There's currently no vaccination to protect you from this and no known cure. In most cases, listeners experience a strong desire to accept new challenges, ditch toxic people, follow their heart, and dance like no one's watching. If you experience moods happier than usual, live it unapologetically and share with your social media friends immediately. Today's episode of the Cleanse, Heal, Ignite podcast, I am sponsoring it with access to one lucky winner to the Warrior Cleanse, which is my program, my online program where I teach you to cleanse your body, heal your hormones and your gut, and ignite your life with a 4-week online program where I myself am walking you directly through how to heal and detox all of the parts of your body so you can learn to listen to the symptoms of it, as well as live a realistic lifestyle that supports cleansing and what I call ABC, always be cleansing. So to enter to win access and tuition for one lucky winner to the Warrior Cleanse, just go to my website, dianekaiser.com, and go to podcast. And from there, you'll go straight to the iTunes access of my Warrior Cleanse podcast. Leave a review, rate it, and we will see which one of you gets to win. We have a lot of lucky entrants every single week. So if this is you and you win, we will reach out to you and let you know that you will gain access to our fall registration for the Warrior Cleanse. Again, just go to dianekaiser.com/podcast and you will see how to rate and review, or just go to your iTunes app on your phone and you will gain direct access to the podcast app. So please, without further ado, let's get into the show. And I hope that you are one of the lucky winners that will join us for this fall's Warrior Cleanse. Without further ado, let's talk about detox. Hey, warriors, welcome back to another episode of Cleanse, Heal, Ignite, where today we are actually going to talk about the cleanse, the C part of the formula that is inside of Chi, which Chi, you guys have not heard me talk about it before. Chi stands for the life force energy that flows to you and through you. So we are one gigantic body made up of 11 systems, just like a soccer field. And if your Chi is off, and if you're filled with toxins and things can't get where they need to go, you feel sick and you're suffering with symptoms, right? So today we're going to talk about the root of this and a lot of things that many of you guys have tried to do. And keep in mind that when we talk about the top 5 cleanse fails in this episode, we're not trying to say these things to shame you or make you feel bad about yourself, because believe me, I have done many things wrong in order to figure out what was right for me. So there's nothing that's wrong. It's just better ways of doing it and learning. Right, Jess?
Yep.
Cool. So I have Jessica Del Pino again on another episode of Cleanse, Heal, Ignite, and she's here to keep me focused because I can tend to have ADD because I get so excited and I go in so many different directions. So Jess is going to keep me straight today. And of course, she's got some really cute stories to add on to, because many of you guys are probably going to connect to a couple things she's got to say. So Jess, let's get into it. Actually, the way that you and I even met was because we're both holistic practitioners and we both had, curious compassion, in order to figure out how to get creative with our healing approach, because we couldn't figure it out on our own, and we wanted to take back control. So here we are. Jess is a part of the Cleanse, Heal, Ignite community, and she is here to get things started on why it's really important to do a cleanse, the best way to do it, the top 5 cleanse fails, why aren't people talking about this more, what's inside of cleanse supplements, and also what to do next and how to actually take action. So Jess, let's get started.
Yeah. All right. So why is it so important to cleanse in the first place?
Yeah, this is something that I say now. If detox is not a part of your healing approach, then healing will not happen. And the reason I say this is that, the very first thing we need to do is cleanse, and consider that, in the last 100 years, we have had the chemical revolution. And really it's been since the 1930s that over 100,000 man-made chemicals have been introduced into our lives. And of these chemicals, this may surprise you, less than 1% of them have actually been tested for safety. There's very little regulation on these chemicals. In fact, the small handful of them that have been tested were performed by the very companies that profit from them. So that should tell you something there. They're more concerned about money and than performance in our health. And the 2,000 plus new chemicals that have been approved every year and counting, some years up to 3,000 new chemicals, they haven't been tested for safety properly. What they do is these chemicals may look like each other and they'll say, oh, it's good enough. But why isn't it good enough for us to be cared for enough to be tested, to have these things tested before they're approved? This is how the drug company works, drug industry works as well. This is how the medical device industry works as well. If one device is created, let's say, a heart monitor or breast implants, Botox, if the thing looks very similar to another one that had been investigated, maybe 3 months of testing, but not long-term testing, they'll say, okay, it looks good enough, we're going to approve it. And you could watch the documentary, The Bleeding Edge, to learn more about this. So it's very difficult to think that, oh, really, the EPA or the World Health Organization, they're not looking out for me. This is really difficult for the human brain to conceptualize, that for so many years we have been deceived to think that they care. But we cannot project our innocence and our care for ourselves onto other people, onto these organizations that really don't care about our health. They care about their profits. And it's hard to think about, it's hard to think that people can be so dark and deceptive and disease pushing, but that's how it works. I think we're all starting to learn this now, especially in the year 2020, when a lot of things are exploding in this new awakening. So it's been this way for a very long time, but just now are we conscious enough to see this? And of these 2,000 or 3,000, new chemicals a year, only about 10 of them are tested for how they impact the brain. In other words, their neurotoxic effects. Now, so many of you are out there wondering, oh, I've got brain fog, I've got Alzheimer's, dementia. Oh, it just runs in my family. No, it now runs in humanity in America, that we're so highly exposed to these toxins that we don't even think twice. We just think that, oh, because someone else had it, no, I should get it. Or we look at people and think, oh, they look really healthy, how could they be that ill? And it has nothing to do with, we can't judge a book by its cover, that just because someone looks healthy, that means that they're healthy on the inside. Even me, you guys will see on some of my videos on social media on how my gut is still not where I want it to be. It still needs to be healed. So even if someone looks really amazing on the outside, does not mean that they are not toxic on the inside. And plus, all of these toxins, they're very aging. So they cause broken brain, like we were just talking about, energy drain, which is hormonal, body pain, and we're chasing that away with anti-inflammatories like NSAIDs, but non-steroidal anti-inflammatories actually will then knock out your immune system. So we're trading one thing in for another thing, but there is a way that you can have it all. And that's what I want to talk about, the proper way to cleanse. And the most disastrous of all these things, Jess, is that there has been no research to test how one chemical in the body, one toxin in the body reacts with another chemical in the body. And on average now, the EPA discovered that toxic chemicals are the worst environmental problem in the nation, responsible for up to 80% of cancer deaths that 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will have in this, while we're alive in this generation. And according to the EPA, everyone has at least 700 chemicals on average inside of them. So you have 700, like they're 699 are butting up against one, and then they're all it's just kind of like video games. It's just bonkers. We're playing chess with all of this blindly. And so today, toxicity is such a huge cause. And we're going to also talk about next why isn't this stuff that we have learned before? Why isn't it in our school curriculum? Why don't doctors talk about this? Why isn't it more popular? So
yeah, well, it seems like it's such an important issue and it's so prevalent. So why aren't more people doing something about it? Why aren't our doctors recommending it? Like, I feel like you've touched a little bit about that, but it seems like so many people are coming to the realization that this is the issue. Why isn't there more being done?
Well, the reality is that so when you go to your doctor and they tell you that you have, and I'm talking about more Western medicine than Eastern medicine, but even at naturopaths and natural doctors, they'll still recommend supplements without asking and exploring underneath the body to see why you're so toxic. And a lot of that is also, emotions. If you have a lot of emotional trauma, your body will hold on and feel stress in that area where you might have been traumatized. Let's say it was an injury, or let's say it was an emotion. We tend to hold on to our emotions and stories in different parts of our body, different organs. Like I talk about this, and the liver stores anger, the kidneys store fear. We've got, and the lungs store grief. So we've got a lot of these emotions that show up in our body. And if they're not processed, they'll create like a blockage, which that blocks your chi. So chi can't flow through where there's a block, and those blocks could be trauma. And that's where toxins will get backed up. So doctors don't talk about this though. So even natural doctors might prescribe some supplements or some cleanses. Well, that's not going to remove the block of trauma that's harboring the dam. It's kind of like a dam where it holds these toxins back. You got to break that dam. Damn, that was a good one. So it's definitely a correlation there. There's a lot of Chinese medicine that has proved this for thousands of years. But we have been taught by doctors that what's going on up here in our mind does not affect anything on our body. They literally have cut those two off. It's like your head's been cut off, but yet they'll say it's in your head too. So it's a very interesting paradox that they say that, oh, it's all in your head. But then again, if I'm changing my stories, I can actually heal my body. But then they give you drugs, which is 60% placebo for you feel better. So doctors are just not trained at all that toxins have any bearing for the root cause for disease, and what toxins live where, what they do. That much of the science now shows that Alzheimer's is brought on by things like aluminum. Where does aluminum come from? It's sprayed in the sky everywhere. When you see those long lines through the sky, I used to get called a conspiracy theorist for this one, but now we're starting to realize they're conspiracy realists, because they're actually saying there's many government websites that now say, here's what we're spraying in the air. And it's like, people can only hold on to, oh, that's a conspiracy theorist for that's a conspiracy theorist for so long. I'm going to say that again. People can only hold on to the term conspiracy theorist or a thing that's happening, conspiracy theory, for so long, because it is an easy way just to dismiss accountability and stepping into your power. So that's been, mind control programming that, they wouldn't do that. They're looking out for us. Everything's fine. But yet people are getting Alzheimer's more than ever. Cancer is higher than ever. These diseases were not even around 100 years ago. Now there's 20,000 different diagnoses that you can receive when you go to the doctor. These things were unheard of in the early 1900s, since the chemical revolution has done a lot of this stuff. So, and there's mercury in our mouth, and that's causing a lot of ADD, ADHD. It's causing a lot of irritability. Mad Hatter's disease, where people literally go freaking crazy. They lose their ability to stay calm, and it causes our neurotransmitters to go haywire. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more, but these are things that doctors are prescribing to us. There's mercury and aluminum in vaccinations. There's aluminum in a lot of medications. There is gluten and dairy in a lot of medications people don't know about. There's food colorings. There's food preservatives and additives, and many of these things that are also gut lining irritants. And when you're in a rut, you got to address the gut. So doctors just don't talk about this, and that's the other big thing is they're trained to prescribe these prescriptions, and then they profit from them that are toxic based. I forgot to mention that many of them too have things like xenoestrogens that look like they're imposters. They're not actually estrogen, but they look like it. So petroleum, most of our medications, thanks to the Rockefeller tycoon, the oil tycoon Rockefeller, he was like, well, where can I take this profit from petroleum? And he, created the Flexner report and put a lot of petroleum in a lot of these medications, but people don't think to ask that question. And that's why the first step in any healing protocol is curiosity. It must be why? Why do I really feel this way? What's my body trying to say? And then we move into like, okay, well, what do I do about that? And so that's what this cleansing is really all about. And the last one that I really just despise is when I hear people say, well, if it's not toxins, like what can I do more to help to heal my body? I want to go on this detox. Doctors are like, you don't need to do anything else. Your body is already a detoxing machine. And sure, it is. And it was designed to, but our body was designed several thousands, they say, several tens of thousands of years ago. It was designed this way, but it was not designed to handle detox things that are non-DNA. So all these man-made chemicals, our body, our DNA goes, I don't know what this is. So what it can excrete, it will store. So no wonder why we have so much fat gain and body pain, energy drain, and broken brain, right? We really need to release these poisons from the fat cells and the tissues and the organs that are harboring them. Because if we don't, we get sick, and the next step is death. And a lot of people are afraid to die. So we got to go on a cleanse.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, also questioning the people who are taking care of you and what their motivations are is a huge step into finding the right person to help make sure that they have your best interest at heart. Like you said, the doctors profit from the prescriptions. They're not trained properly, and that's not necessarily their fault. But when you find people who understand this, it makes it a lot easier to find the path to where you need to go. Yeah. So what would you say are the top reasons somebody would need to do a cleanse?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but the number one reason is that you're a human and you're living in one of the most toxic worlds you've ever lived in. I mean, in America anyway, there's exceptions to that. And I talked about that in a previous episode with Dr. Navaz, who talks about the vagus nerve, is that there are several places called blue zones that are really low toxins are all around the world, but those are exceptions, right? That's how the world used to be, where the blue zones have a lot of really clean and healthy ways of living, and they're not exposed to so many toxins. They're protected. And so because of that, they're living at the longest centurions ever. They live into their hundreds that have the highest percentage and population of those. But the reason why is because they're living in low stressful environments, which includes mental, emotional, and physical and chemical stress. So the 5 main reasons that you need to do a cleanse are things that you may have heard before, like we eat so much damn sugar, right? We eat so much sugar, and this sugar is a drug. So many people say, well, I'm not addicted. I'm not, and we judge people who are drug addicts. But really, we have all been conditioned to be sugar addicts. So it looks just like heroin to the brain. It does the same thing. It numbs out, whatever emotions that we have, the mental things that we don't want to think about temporarily. But that's the problem, right? Is that the sugar only lasts for so long. And the sugar that we're eating is totally genetically modified. So there are specifically 7 different types of genetically modified organisms that skew our body's ability to digest it because it's been genetically modified. So it's not DNA, genetically made from Earth. It's been spliced and created and then re-engineered and sprayed heavily with pesticides, and sugar is one of them. So we've got sugar, we've got canola, we've got corn, we've got papaya, cotton, and many of these things it's interlaced now in 70 to 80% of our foods. And so it's hard to get around it. And so my goal when I talk about cleansing is to make it not overwhelming. We'll get to the end of this and it won't be so overwhelming because I've got shortcut solutions, because it really is difficult to do this on your own. I've learned this over a period of 10 years. And I also, allow myself some treats too. So, sugar, it's okay to still have it once in a while because it's not about deprivation, but it's about having control and being educated to know what sugar is bad for you. If you're going to do it, when to eat it, how to eat it, what's a healthy treat, what's a good recipe for it. But sugar is very addicting and it massively, massively depletes your immune system, and it feeds fungus, candida, it feeds cancer. This is food for the things that we are told, oh, you got an excess of a bacterial overgrowth in your gut, just take an antibiotic. And we'll talk about that later about why that's so disastrous, right? Oh, we'll just cut the cancer out. We'll just do some chemo and radiation and just cut it out. Well, that person never changed their lifestyle. So that person goes back to eating sugar again, and it's going to proliferate cancers. You can't just cut out a cancer. The cancer is like the weeds that grow from the seeds in the soil. You got to go to the seeds. You got to go to the soil. You got to go to the soul, which is what, part of the, the things I do recommend in cleansing, which we'll get to next. And then a lot of people are just not eating enough produce. So, what they're doing instead of eating produce is they're eating sugar and using that for their calories. And, what the American Heart Association recommends is no more than 6 teaspoons or about 25 grams of added sugar per day. And that's for women, of course, but men is about a third more of that. But putting that in perspective, more than 70% of Americans are eating at least 22 teaspoons of added sugar a day, according to the Harvard School of Public Health. That's like 3 times. Wow. Yeah. That's like 3 times more. And now in COVID, when we're recording this, it's probably 6 times because a lot of people have gained weight, and there's no shame in that. But there is a communication that's happening within. Like, what is it that you're trying to hide from or numb out with sugar? It's our hiding choice. It's like our numbing device that so many people turn to. Is like, I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna numb out my emotions. I'm going to just cram them down, and they're just gonna keep moving downward and living inside of me. So yeah, that's a big part of it. And produce, people think, okay, produce, I'm going to eat a lot of fruit. I'm going to do it a juice cleanse, right? And we'll get to that too next, is that right now, the federal dietary guidelines, of course, I don't really think we should take any guidelines from any federal anything, but just to give you an idea, their guidelines is at least 1.2 to 2 cups of fruit and 2 to 3 cups of veggies per day. But sadly, only about 10%, 13% of Americans fulfill the fruit bar, and less than 9% meet the veggies mark. That's insane, because so many people now are extremely constipated. And if you're constipated, what is the reason why? It's probably you don't have enough fiber is one part of the reason why, among many other things. It might be because you're dehydrated, but fiber is the broom that sweeps out the poop. And if you don't have enough of that, you're congested and constipated. If you're constipated, you're holding back all that toxic waste and all these bugs. And if you're holding back toxic waste in the colon, your body has to make more bugs in order to decompose that toxic waste. So this toxic waste and these toxins are impairing our entire digestion thread. You've got to have enough minerals from healthy foods to make stomach acid. Stomach acid's made of several minerals like zinc and iodine and sodium. And then you need voltage, which means the chi that flows throughout your body. If you don't have those things, you're not digesting your food properly. If you're not digesting your food properly, then you've got to recruit bugs to digest or decompose your food. So now you have bacterial overgrowth, and you take antibiotics to go kill some of those bugs. But many of us are antibiotic resistant these days, and not checking for that. And a lot of the antibiotics, they're actually killing species of bugs that will never come back. Like, we have lost 40% of our wildlife, some say 50% of our wildlife in the last 50 years. Dr. Zach Bush talks about this a lot. As above, so below. So we're losing our wildlife and our insect kingdom and our flora kingdom. The same thing is happening underneath inside of us, because what they're doing is they're spraying pesticides all over crops and GMOs. And the same thing is happening when we eat those same foods or when we take an antibiotic. It is destroying these things instead of these healthy flora in our gut. And then when we do that, oftentimes it takes about a year just to come back from taking an antibiotic. So we absolutely need fiber to clean out the poop, to clean out the toxic debris. If that's not happening, whatever you don't release stays inside of you, and then you get sicker because of it. So, imagine the trash guy never came. He comes once a week usually, right? And you put your bin out to the corner on the sidewalk. Imagine if they didn't come for a month. Imagine if they didn't come for a quarter. Imagine if they didn't come for a year. Imagine if they never came. There's many people who've never even done a cleanse. And just this perplexes me. What? I've never done a cleanse. I go, wow, we really have a lot of work to do, which is why we're doing this podcast today, right? It's like not just doing one cleanse, but learning how to ABC, always be cleansing.
So would you say that a lot of people who don't do cleanses then kind of fall into a category of maybe checking into where there are cleanse fails and things that are, keeping them from doing it because they're confused? Like, what would be your top 5 cleanse fails that you'd want to teach people so that they can get over that hump and feel confident to be able to do this on a regular basis?
Yeah, totally. Well, I want to finish my other 2, which kind of ties right into this, the top 5 reasons people need to cleanse. These are also kind of cleanse fails too. But people are really, really trying to lose weight the wrong way. So everyone out there, I want this to really sink in, is if you want to reverse weight gain, you must go after the reason why your toxic cells are expanding in the first place, which is what I said earlier, that toxic cells expand because they have to. Because your body is literally trying to save your life. Your body doesn't hate you when it's gaining weight. Your body loves you always. And you were designed this way for a reason. There's no accidents. There's no such thing as autoimmune disease. Your body doesn't just automatically start attacking itself. This is your body adapting, and it's trying to help you get a clue. So fat gain, many people try to change their diets. They change their macros. They try to eat more. They try to eat more different macros. They rebalance that. They try to, do fasting, or they try to eat 6 meals a day, or, they do one of those juice cleanses or whatever. We'll get to that next. But trying to lose weight the wrong way is one of the top 5 reasons that you need to cleanse, because I don't want you to feel defeated with yet again trying to change another diet. And there's actually a lot of really good diets out there right now. There's keto, there's paleo, there's vegan. And I think we're getting closer, to being more biological, where your body is learning how to adapt to its environment. But it's really all about eating cleaner. And when you're eating cleaner and you have no toxic waste, I wouldn't say no, I'd say like low toxic waste, because toxins are everywhere. It's so easy to manage and maintain weight. Like I'm working out less, more than I ever have, but it's because I'm focusing on cleansing and healing my body and connecting to nature. And people keep asking, how do you still have a 6-pack? I'm like, I haven't done a sit-up in like months. It's because abs are made in the kitchen, as they say. And, I'd like to say that your body stays lean and trim. Fat loss is easy on a healthy body. It really is. That's your body's way of saying, okay, you finally have cracked the code. We're getting rid of the root cause. And that's how you've gotten rid of your toxins and your trauma, because those are 2 big ones. If we have emotions and things like that, we're going to be eating foods to numb it out, like I said earlier. And then when we also have energy drain, we rely heavily on caffeine. So you'll see a lot of you guys doing that. What happens if you have a lot of caffeine is it spikes your adrenaline, it spikes your cortisol, stress hormone, your sex hormones get the backseat, which would mean testosterone is not prioritized. Testosterone is a fat-burning hormone. Progesterone is an antidepressant. Estrogen helps you to have balanced and healthy cycles and beautiful flowing hair and skin. I mean, there's so many reasons for them. But your sex hormones, when they get the backseat, it's very difficult to have a healthy body. And then many people want to go take bioidenticals. But the real reason is that anything that you're doing to spike your adrenaline and spike cortisol, it's activating your fight or flight, which 70% of us are living in 70% of the time. When we have only been designed to have that reaction 10 to 20 to 30% of our lives, but we're living in 3 times more stress. And that's a huge reason why we need to cleanse, because you're like essentially holding your breath all day. Your physical body's responding by holding physically those toxins in all day too. So it's as above in your head, so below in your physical body. And caffeine is the heaviest sprayed crop in the world with pesticides. And there's many other reasons for it. It's mold producing that also causes you to gain weight really fast. I've known of people who gain 20, 30 pounds in a month because they have a lot of mold, unhealthy mold in their body. Could be from your home, could be from the foods that you're consuming, peanuts, coffee. These are all the things we talk about when I approach cleansing, which we'll get to. And then the last reason why it's important to do a cleanse is because we live in a toxic soup. No matter where you live, but we all do. We've all been programmed with toxic thoughts, toxic chemicals, toxic lifestyles. So that's the top 5 reasons I think that you need to cleanse. And Jen, what was your next question, Jess, as far as the
Your top,
the next one?
the top 5 cleanse fails.
Oh yeah,
So,
these are fun.
Why
don't you share a couple of yours first, Jess? What have you learned in your approach of cleansing the wrong way and what didn't work?
What have I learned? Just exercise more, eat less. I'll tell you a story. Before I went into this realm, I was on a very strict calorie restricted diet. And I gained, I had maybe 20 or 30 pounds on me that was more than what my body should be holding. And so I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I would work out, vigorous workout. I'd have very calorie restrictive, specific foods that I would be eating throughout the day. No sugar, all organic, whatever. Everything was perfect. I lost 0 pounds. I did this for a month straight and I lost 0 pounds. And it wasn't until years later recognizing, there's medications that I was on. I was on birth control. Once I started getting off of these medications, it was like night and day, especially the birth control. I got off the birth control and I lost like 20 pounds without doing anything. So it really went to show that, there are things that I'm putting in my body, and it doesn't matter how much I'm doing. It doesn't matter what I'm restricting or keeping for myself, which then just caused like a psychological thing because I was depriving myself. So then I would go eat chocolate and I'd like way overdo it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like, I'm a failure, so this chocolate is going to temporarily numb out the belief that I have that I'm a failure and I'm never going to get better. That's where I think what I really want to provide always in this community is that there is a way. And I say, where there's a warrior, there's a way. And if you know deep down that something's not right, but you've just not been introduced to someone or something or some formula that has helped you crack the code in your body, keep going. We're just in a world where it probably takes about 999 people to find one of the people that could help you help yourself. And that's what I pride myself in being, because when I found that someone helped me help myself by asking me challenging questions instead of saying, yep, here, just go do this. And I'd go do that. And like Jess said, it wouldn't work. I'd start to feel like there's something wrong with me. Because, this doctor told me that go do this and it should work. And then, how many of you out there, and Jess, I know you and me in many counts, when I was in the bodybuilding industry, I was like, well, if I told you to do it and you're doing it exactly as I told you to, and it's not working, you must not be doing it the way I told you.
Yep.
It's like, that's a very shameful, shitty thing to say, because I am doing everything you told me to and nothing has really worked. I might feel a little bit better, maybe a little bit more energy, but I still have a lot of this extra weight that has never fallen off. And my energy has really not changed that much. My sex drive is not really up that much. And I still don't have like a purpose. I feel like I have enough energy to pursue. So I know intuitively, instinctively, something deep down is not right. So my friends, do not ignore that whisper or scream coming from deep down. You just maybe haven't found the right person or the right cleanse. So let's talk about some of the things that I've done. Maybe I wouldn't say the word wrong, but it's the ways that maybe are not the best for us to get us deep, deep down. A lot of these things that you guys may have tried or learned are superficial. Maybe they work for a little bit until they don't, right? So they're not always just wrong. I just want to teach you, and I want you to live a lifestyle that helps you to get to the point of having the body that you desire, the energy, the life, the energy. And I'm serious, you could have all of those things. You can. And if you believe you can, then you will. And then when you have that, you retain those results and it becomes sustainable, because cleansing should not be a transaction. So that's actually one of the things that I'll talk about. The biggest cleanse fails is, number one, you do this 3-day cleanse. And it's just this quick detox. There is no such thing as a 3-day cleanse that is a sustainable cleanse. You may do, a juice fast or something like that. You may do some products that blow out your colon for a few days. You may do a liver cleanse that, you drink some syrup and lemon and Maybe even you do a gallbladder flush and do some Epsom salt. You swallow those and they taste like crap with olive oil. These are things that can help to reset certain organs, but that's not a total body cleanse, right? That's just like a temporary, maybe you're working on one organ or maybe like working to cleanse some toxins out. But what I don't want you guys to do is just go on a short-term cleanse and have unrealistic expectations that it's going to fix everything, and it doesn't. And then you label cleansing as, oh, it didn't work, right? So there's an approach to this. And the longer that you have gone without cleansing, the longer it'll probably take for you to really see effects. And that's why I want to teach you guys how to ABC, always be cleansing. There's a way to do that without, having it be unrealistic or like you're depriving yourself. So there are a lot of, juice companies that say, oh yeah, do a juice cleanse. But the thing is that your body can only eliminate so many toxins at once. And it takes a lot more time than just a few days. They say that, as an example, for every 1 year that you've had breast implants, it takes 1 month to clear those toxins out. So I had breast implants for 10 years. So I really started feeling a lot better around that 10-month mark, but that's only if you're taking an active role in cleansing. You could actually make it happen faster. And it takes, on average 1 to 3 years to clear heavy metals from the body. It's a long time. Lead, for example, if it starts in your, let's say you have a great-great-great-grandma. By the time it gets to you, if that great-great-great-grandma had lead in her body, then by the time it gets to you, it may have been cleared out, assuming that there's no additional support to cleanse out that lead. Lead is a very invasive toxin that lives inside of your bones. And as you get older and your body needs to break down calcium from your bones in order to offset pH, because as we get older, we eat more acidic diets, we have acidic thoughts. As we get older, we just have more acid forming things happening inside of our body. So our body needs to literally break down calcium to neutralize that acidic waste to make us more alkaline. And that's why we see so many women with osteoporosis as they age, and also hormones too. So there's a lot of reasons for that. But as that happens, lead leaches out of the bones and into the body. And so a lot of times we have lead toxicity that's actually making people sick as they age, right? So it takes a long time to clear these invasive heavy metals out of the body, but we need to take an active role in it because many years ago, lead was no big deal in the walls and the paint, right? So we've been exposed to it for a long, long time. And so the next one, as far as the top cleanse fails, is that not addressing the mind-body connection. So many people go into cleansing and they still have a shitty mindset. And so what I say is that you can't go into a cleanse and think that, well, what is it they say? It's hard to think positively when you're eating negatively, and that you can't chase away a shitty diet with a shitty mindset or numbing it out. You've got to adopt your mind to talk to it properly, like that you can heal, that it's healing every day, or that you already are healed. And as Tony Robbins says, your quality of life is only as great as your emotional state. So it's really important to consider that if we're living in a stressful mindset, and like we mentioned earlier, that fight or flight mindset, then you are holding on to a lot of negative beliefs. So if you can't believe that any cleanse is going to help you, then nothing's going to heal you. You can't. Another fun question I like to ask everybody is, how do you expect to feel like $1 million when you're eating from the dollar menu? If you want to be a millionaire, you have to eat like one to think like one. So there's a lot to this, and believing that your body is always looking out for you is a really big one, because a lot of you I hear say things like, oh, my body hates me, my hormones hate me, I'm just getting old, I was given shitty genes, I was handed a bad card. Those are all very, very victim mindset perspectives. And I was there too. I used to think that way, and I was perpetuating a symptom creation cycle, because I always believed that everything bad was happening to me and life was out to get me. But really, when you start to control all of this and take back control of your life, then you can take back control of your health. And then the other couple ones is that you used harmful cleanse products and ingredients. And when I was a kid, Jess, have you ever tried laxatives like Lacey LeBeau's Super Dieters tea or taking any kind of senna?
Oh yeah, I've tried all kinds of things, having digestive problems my whole life.
Yeah, that's like your whole story, right? So it's
Hmm.
like when you haven't gone for a long time, by gone, I mean pooping, you got to go. You're like, I'm desperate, right? So you go to the store, you get some laxatives. You might even end up at your doctor's office taking a prescription based laxative. These things are so harmful to the colonic walls and the muscles inside of your body. Then your migrating motor complex, which is like the smooth, kind of movement like waves inside of your their contractions inside of your bowels that help to stimulate peristalsis. And when you take laxatives like that, you end up numbing out your body's own ability to create that peristaltic movement, and then we end up codependent on these laxatives, right? So it muscles, a body not in motion is a body that will turn into a atrophied body, and that's what happens if it's use it or lose it. So if you're giving it a stimulant, then you're not having to do it anymore. We become codependent on these things. And that goes for many things, medications and everything. So there's a lot of things that people are taking in supplement form that maybe not so much senna, but there are a lot of other things like senna. So any cleanse product that has senna in it is probably not a good idea because it's creating codependence, and it may work for a short period, but it's not creating lasting effects and support by going to the root cause of why you're constipated to begin with. So that's a really big one. And then a lot of cleanse products and ingredients, they're filled with genetically modified organisms. Many people don't even know that there are a lot of these things that have been tested, like protein powders. That's where you find a lot of arsenic, and that's a nasty heavy metal. And they've done lots of testing, like things like muscle milk have the highest level. Even just taking the regular prescribed dose of muscle milk as per their supplement label, you have higher level of arsenic than even the daily recommended avoid level, according to consumer health institutes. So they've done these studies, they've seen these things, and many of these products don't even have like 90% of the things that they say that they have in them. So really work with a company who says they're GMO free, that they have high manufacturing qualifications and preferences and values, that you're working with nutraceuticals that have higher levels of things. Like zinc is a really great way to heal your gut. Zinc is a great way to boost your immune system. Zinc is a mineral that's positive to support the production of progesterone and testosterone. Zinc makes hydrochloric acid. Zinc is good for hair growth. I mean, zinc is good for so many things. It helps to rebuild your inner tissues and your outer tissues. But here's the problem. A lot of these products that you guys go get, people aren't educating you that you need like 30 grams a day to get the real effect. And a lot of them are like 5 grams. Well, that's a sixth of the amount. So there's a lot of things that are out there that may have really good ingredients, but they don't have a lot of them. So you're not going to notice a huge difference. If you're taking any supplements or cleanse products and you notice a little bit of a difference, but not like knock your socks off kind of effects, then it's probably not a very good product. So this is another big one as well. A lot of things are filled with soy and GMOs like canola sometimes. The senna, there's a lot of things that are just fake and synthetic and then are going to add more salt. Then your body has to work harder to clear them. Number 4, cleanse fail, is that many people take, and I wonder if this is you, I did this a lot. I used to take cleanse kits, but I didn't change the diet. I didn't focus enough on foods that support diets. And detoxification through my diet. So one big one is missing fiber. So a lot of juice cleanses don't have any fiber to clear it out of the body. They don't have enough, also macros. It's the second one, missing macros. Not enough focus on protein. And protein has a lot of amino acids like lysine and glycine. And these are precursors also for, if you have MTHFR defect, especially the methylation effect. If you need methylation, which is detoxification in your liver. And just because you have a genetic mutation, maybe like the MTHFR, I'm double homozygous, doesn't mean that you're stuck with that sentence. But the way that you can turn off that air quotes bad gene is by giving the body what it needs to support it. And that's missing macros, like the proteins. So it's hard to properly cleanse when you don't have the right macros. Fats is another one. So hormones are made up of fat on the outside. So hormones are made up of fat, cholesterol, and T3. So, and I'm talking about adrenal hormones. So in order to have proper adrenal hormones, fat, like stress, sex, and sleep hormones, you need to have healthy fat. You need to have healthy cholesterol. You need to have healthy levels of T3, which is thyroid hormone. Everything feeds everything in your body. And so in order to properly cleanse, you need a lot of cortisol, which is the anti-inflammatory. It puts fires out of the body. You need to have energy. You need to have metabolism. You need insulin needs to be able to get things, food, energy, information into the cells to activate those things. So metabolism is very important to start. You can't just cleanse if you have a shitty metabolism. If your metabolism is really impaired, which 88% of us right now, Jess, I'm not sure if you've heard of this. 88% of people are metabolically inflexible, which means insulin, it can't do its job to get food or the things that are broken down properly into the cells for fuel. That's crazy. That's why we have such a poor immune system today, because we're metabolically inflexible. Why is that? Because we're giving our body too much stress to be able to deal with. And these toxins are blocking the cell wall doors where minerals need to get in. Minerals are necessary to actually activate metabolism. So it really is important to go into a cleanse. You need to make sure that your hormones are properly prepared for that kind of work. It takes a lot of work to cleanse. It's like 70% of your daily caloric excretion is used for digestion. 70%. So if you improve your digestion, you can improve your energy levels. So I talked about, missing macros is the next one after missing macros. Many people don't realize that we need healthy levels of magnesium to poop. We need healthy levels of potassium to pump our muscles. We need healthy levels of sodium to be able to make stomach acid. We need healthy levels of minerals to do many things. And minerals are the precursors to making hormones. So having a diet that's not just products, but having a diet that supports the detox products at the same time will be a great combination. So you got mind, body, and products all working for you at the same time. That's why, the work that we do with our clients is very quick, and it helps people get to where they need to go, where they couldn't go otherwise with other diets or detox products that they did, or juice cleanses or whatever. I talked a little about already food quality. A lot of people don't realize that toxicity comes in by and large from our food. The pesticide residue, polyunsaturated fats, greasy food at stores, animals that have been mistreated. That's why many people go vegan, right? Vegetarian, because they're like, oh, I don't, animals are inflammatory. It feels terrible when I eat meat. Usually it's because we're eating meat. You don't have enough stomach acid to break down the meat. So it might not actually be the meat itself. It just might, animals are bad to eat. And this is all personal decision, but it might just be that your body doesn't have the digestion capacity to break it down. Like I said, your stomach acid is made of zinc, iodine, sodium, and energy, voltage, right? Chi. And so if you lack those things, which 90% plus people don't have enough stomach acid, it's not going to properly break down your meats, right? So people go to vegan, which I don't think is all the way bad, but I do believe that people are different. Everybody is different, and I want to help everybody find what that secret formula is for them. And food quality, many people are eating inhumanely raised animals. They're raised outside under these big barns, and they don't get to see sun. They're not fed grass. They're not free range and roaming around. They're fed corn and newspaper and plastic straws and feathers and things that just bulk them up. I'm talking about cows right now. Then they're fed antibiotics because they're given hormones to get bigger faster, and then they get sick. So they give them antibiotics. So these animals, we're eating sick animals, and then we get sick. So it's really important to have high quality food. And the more high quality food that you're eating, the less food that you're going to need to eat. So the average human American now is eating like 4,500 calories a day. We should only need like 1,500. So if you're getting the micros that you need, you won't need to eat so much, and your food cravings won't be so far off the chart. So that's another big one, fermented foods, adaptogenic herbs to get energy, water quality. Many people they have no idea. So that's what I really want to help you guys with in terms of the things that are the top cleanse fails. Is there's a lot of quality out there, but you just need to understand what it is and how to practically apply it so it won't be so overwhelming for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's so much great information too, and it's hard to sift through it if you don't know what you're doing. I mean,
Right.
obviously, you've gone down the path of many different cleanses and tried so many different things. So what have you done to help heal your body? Why is it the first step in your freedom formula for other people?
Yeah. Yeah. And the freedom formula is cleanse, heal, ignite, right? Cleanse your body, heal your hormones, ignite your life. And it could also be, cleanse your toxic thoughts, heal your trauma, and ignite your inner purpose. So, it could be whichever way you look at that. It's both. When you're doing both, you start to fly free. Fly stands for first love yourself. So for me and for many clients and patients that we work with, is that a lot of people have digestion or stomach related issues, digestive related issues and symptoms. You don't have to have a symptom for it to be an issue. If you're not feeling your best, it's always rooted in the gut. It's always rooted in the liver. Your body's connected to everything. So they're for the gut, right? I was saying earlier that your gut will need to recruit more bacteria in order to decompose toxic waste or proteins that your body can't digest on its own. So what it looks like is that the more toxins that I had in my body, and I had breast implant toxicity, Botox toxicity, birth control toxicity, I took Accutane, many, many years of antibiotics, chronically because I had chronic UTIs, and hair dye and toxic body care products and toxic cosmetics and airborne things in our house. It's 100 times more toxic in our home than it is outside. So we're supposed to be sheltering in place, but we're breathing in more of these toxins. No wonder why people are gaining weight, right? So these toxins have an affinity for fat cells. They also have an affinity for the gut. So what happens is whatever we can excrete in terms of toxins lands inside the gut. And then the gut will actually need to create more parasites, because parasites are like the little Pac-Mans that go in there and they gobble up the toxins and they get huge. So when we go on a parasite cleanse, which many people do, then it's like a piñata, explodes with toxins. And if we're not approaching gut healing at the same time we're approaching detox, then it's just going to keep happening, right? You blow up these bugs in the body, they release toxic waste. And if you don't have a way for those toxins to get out of the body, they just keep recirculating and you keep recruiting more bugs. And also, as I was saying, is that if your gut's inflamed and your brain's perceiving, oh my God, there's stress happening in the gut. Oh God, I got to send some cortisol down there. I got to put fires of inflammation out. I've never seen labs this year more than I have seen in all of my 8 years practicing doing functional medicine labs, that cortisol is in the shitter for so many people. It's like not making enough cortisol. And what that tells me is that that person has been under stress for a very long time. Why? Toxins, gut bugs, trauma, mental, emotional, spiritual imbalances, thinking they need to keep up, being crazy busy, not sleeping enough. So these are all things that have added to a toxic lifestyle. And when the brain says, oh God, there's toxins in the gut, we got to send more, gut bugs to clean that mess up. And then there's more stress when they go on a gut cleanse. There's more toxic waste. Your brain says the hormones make cortisol. When it makes cortisol, I said this earlier, that then if the stress hormones prioritize, sex hormones get the backseat, and women aren't getting pregnant, and people aren't enjoying their lives and making love. They're not making sleep hormone, melatonin, to fall asleep and have restful sleep. And melatonin is our anti-inflammatory hormone while we sleep, right? And you make 98% of human growth hormone while you sleep. So we talk about in the cleansing approach that I have, how to apply intermittent fasting to increase your human growth hormone production by 700%.
Wow.
And human growth hormone is in all of us. And that's very fat burning and energizing, right? And body healing. So it's a youthful hormone, but you can't just take it from the outside. You can't take it exogenously. You can, but it's not going to be as welcome to your body. So many of these things are this just cycle that just keeps on circling until we can get the source of toxicity out of the body. And that's exactly what I did. I got rid of a lot of the toxins. I removed the source of toxins. That's what I want to teach everybody. It's not just how to cleanse the toxins out, but to also understand where they came from in the first place. Because if you don't get rid of that, which is one of my other big recommendations, if you don't get rid of the source of toxicity, but clear it out from in your body, but not your environment, it's just going to keep coming back and you're going to get frustrated, right? So we do live in a toxic world today. We do. So we can't change that except, we can by voting differently, but there's only so much we can change. So focus on what you can change and clean it out of your body and clean it out of your life, and make sure you're taking very clean supplements, detox products, etc. And you don't have toxic people around your environment as well. So that's how we approach cleansing differently, in the warrior cleanses. We look at this whole approach as holistic, while you can do everything at the same time without it being overwhelming. So we can talk about how it works next. I think that's where we're getting to, right, Jess?
Yeah. So how does it work? You have, is it a bunch of supplements? Is it a bunch of lifestyle changes? Do you have a kit? Like can somebody expect when they go through the warrior cleanse?
Yeah. Awesome. So I created the warrior cleanse 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago now, because I realized that there was a lot more work to do and people couldn't afford me, working with me 3, 6 months, a year at a time. And I said, you know what, there's just some very fundamental basics, and even the stuff I don't teach is it's really not basic. It's very advanced, but it's broken down in a way that's very understandable and doable. Like I said, relatable. So I make it fun. I make it economical, and I do make it realistic. So that's what is very important for any cleanse too. If it's too difficult, you're not going to do it. Let's just face it. And if it's fun, it's boring and you're going to lose interest. So the approach is that it is a 4-week cleanse. And the very first week, we are focused exclusively on making adjustments to your diet, whatever way that looks like. There are certain things that we start to clean out that, there's blocks and there's builders, right? There's things that block your beauty, your energy, and immunity. Then there's things that build your energy, your beauty, and your immunity, right? So understanding what things block you are just as important to understand what things can build. So, because we're all trained this way, right? We've been culturally conditioned to go, oh, I feel a symptom or something that's discomfort. What can I take for it, right? But the question I want everybody to also think is, what can I take away to prevent it? And that's the block, right? It's not just about what can I take. It's also about what can I take away? What can I remove, not just replace? So, because otherwise it can get very expensive, and that's a lot of information for your body to process. So what we do in the first week is there's no supplements. It's just changing some lifestyle hacks throughout your day. We give you a full-on recipe book. It's all done online and distance, obviously, because we can't do much in person right now. We have over 100 recipes in there that have worked for thousands of warriors all around the world in over 15 different countries. And we give you a recipe book. We give you options. We help you build out routine and making, let's do like once a week, you're doing some meal prepping. You may have heard that before, but this is going to be a little bit different of approach. But preparation will support you for detoxification. That's step 1. You got to have preparation. Actually it's step 2. Desire is step 1. Being clear with what it is that you want and why is step 1. What's cleansing even for? What are you going to do with all this new energy that you have? Instead of just adding extra things to your calendar, making yourself even more busy. So step 2 is really like preparation. How can I get organized? Developing rituals, which are really fun. And you do that with your partner. You make rituals. You start to develop habituation. I say the only way you can have transformation is with 2 things that precede that. Habituation plus intention equals transformation. So your habits, changing the way you do things, your rhythms throughout the week, and your intention is the why. Why am I even doing this? What are my intentions with what I want as an outcome? That equals transformation. So you have your recipe book, you have us in the community, you have me that's going to be doing weekly videos, and we're doing this just like this, your question and answers. You guys can ask any questions during the week of the cleanse. I've got different ways that are inside of the program to teach you lots of different ebooks, education, hacks, things that I do wrong, different things to replace this with this. Because a lot of people are like, well, I really enjoy chips. What can I do instead? I'm like, well, here's another alternative. And it's healthy, but it's also very tasty. And it's economical. Here's where you get it. Here's how you could have shipped to your house, how you could save time, how you could save money. All of these things are designed to help to program design your life in a way that's doable for you and your children and your family. So the first week we're focused on that. Just a new way of living, a new way of being, what to avoid, what to replace it with, how do I still enjoy my food, and what habits can I build in there. The second week we're talking, and so that first week is really building your metabolism, is getting things working, getting your body ready and prepared for the communication of detox, adding extra fiber, healthy fats, healthy macros, and macros and micros. And then we start moving into the liver portion of the cleanse. So when we get to the liver portion of the cleanse, now we're moving into the supplements, healthy, high quality, high dose supplements that are designed to help to remove some of the liver toxins that are inside. 70% of your thyroid hormone, T4, gets converted to T3 in your liver. But many people are just prescribed Synthroid. What if we just supported your liver, which is where a lot of the conversion happens? So if we do that, maybe your thyroid could work better. So then we're starting to talk about how to open up your liver pathways, phase 1, phase 2. We do this in lab testing too. So I talk a little bit about lab testing in there as well, like what labs are the best for you. And we also go over some of these myths and misconceptions and misleading statements that you've heard in the past to really reprogram how you think about your body, how you think about food, how you think about healing. And then in the third week, we start to move into your gut and clearing out your gut. So you're probably thinking, oh my God, a cleanse that focuses on hormones and the liver and the gut and the whole body? Heck yes, right? So in the gut, we start to feed the good girls in your gut. We start to cleanse out a lot of the things that aren't really good for you to have in there. And we do this with high quality supplementation. So there's a Warrior Cleanse kit that if you did do the cleanse with us, that you buy that. And it's optional. You don't have to have the supplements, but I highly recommend them. I've been in cleanses before, Jess, that in order to do it, you have to buy thousands of dollars of supplements. And I was like, oh my God, that's a lot. So I do it in such a way that you can get all of this for $300 to $400, for a whole month. But the cleanse itself, the cleanse kit itself, is only 2 weeks. Then I teach you after that how to keep moving, how to retain your results, how to sustain your energy, how to keep the momentum going where your fat loss continues to happen. So weight gain reverses, body pain reduces, broken brain eliminates, and what's the other one? Body pain, broken brain, energy drain, and weight gain. All these things are the formula for how to free yourself from all of them instead of going after a pill for every one of these ills. And like I said, there's ebooks inside of this to learn. There's videos so that you can share and ask me questions. Inside of it, you can keep those modules forever once you have them. So this is all included. The cleanse kit, the lifestyle, the diet, the things to educate you on. I also have videos in there to educate you where I bring in experts, live or pre-recorded, to talk about where you're exposed to these toxins. So we actually have one module that talks about where you're exposed to toxins in your environment and how to clean out your cleaning routine for your house, how to clean out your personal care product routine, your spa, like the things you use in the spa, in your vagina. There's all these things we're exposed to. So how do we replace that? And then you're also talking about what toxins are inside of your body and how to get those out. Then we're talking about your beauty products and how to clear that out, replace unhealthy products with clear products, how to explore and navigate the aisles on your own and products on your own to look at individual ingredients that are super toxic and what to avoid. And then we talk about beauty in there in terms of med spa fails, all the things that I've done that are med spa fails that are really toxic and what to do instead. So there's all kinds of support in there. We're going to be bringing in an expert on lymphatic drainage, the importance of addressing your lymph, which is 75% of your body fluid. Yet we talk about blood testing only when you go to the doctor. So I have experts in there. Aside from just me, I'm bringing in the best of the best. I'm talking about also toxic beauty and how so many of us have used a lot of things in our face, like even cosmetics that are filled with lead. The average woman puts on 5 pounds of lipstick on her lips every year. 95% of lipsticks out there have lead in them. And we talked about lead. If you're kissing your baby, then it gets absorbed into their skin. And these, you might think to yourself, oh, it's just a little exposure. But everything adds up. So it's like this whole, what was the one thing that finally erupted your whole volcano of toxins in the body that became one day it hurt. One day I ended up in the ER. One day I had to, have my gallbladder removed because one day it hurt. But our body's always whispering on the way there. So I want to teach you that in the cleanse itself. So you have modules to watch, videos, whether it's me or me interviewing other experts. You have lots of ebooks, you have checklists, you have symptom checklists to understand what your body is trying to say with the symptoms that it's expressing. You have accountability sheets, you have recipe books, and you have an amazing team of support, which includes Jess too. So this is all online based. You just tune in once a week. If you can't make it to the weekly Q&As, you just submit a question prior to, and we support you. It's really stacked, and this has helped a lot of people.
Yeah, that sounds like such a great deal, especially when you're saying People will spend thousands of dollars to get even just a quarter of this kind of information, and probably not even the highest quality of products in
Yeah.
those kits.
Yeah, exactly. And in my world, it's like I want to give you the best of the best, but I also want to make it realistic. So
Yeah.
it's all something that, some people, one woman came to me several years ago in South Africa, and she said, Diane, I can't get pregnant. And I've tried everything. They said I have PCOS. She was a doctor herself. And she said, I've read your stuff online and I feel like this is a calling for me and I really want to do this. She did the Warrior Cleanse. They told her she needed $15,000 worth of IVF therapy. She got pregnant in a month and a half when she did the Warrior Cleanse. A month and a half. This cleanse has sprouted a lot of warrior babies where they were once told that they couldn't. And these babies are super healthy. And then once you learn how to eat healthy for yourself, you learn how to eat healthy and feed your baby healthy. Then you could breastfeed. 1 out of 3 women today are, after they have their baby, they have postpartum depression. And 1 in 5 can't even breastfeed. And then a lot of women who are breastfeeding, they're breastfeeding their baby extremely toxic milk that they're unaware of. And so our bodies can only handle so much, and our babies are an expression of the level of health that we either have or don't have. So it's not just about getting pregnant. It's about also wanting to be pregnant with opportunities and wanting to have the life that you deserve and desire, and literally you can get free from toxic prescriptions that you're taking. I even just helped a woman last month. She was about to have her gallbladder removed. She was at the doctor and she was like, okay, where do I go? What do I do after the surgery? I said, you might want to think about a few things first. So I sent her home with a few things, some recommendations, some supplements. These are the things we'll talk about in the cleanse. She now has not had to have her organ removed. You know how much that costs in the ER? $15,000 also. And is the number 1 most performed surgery in the ER. Why is that? Because bile ducts get trapped with toxins, because your bile is comprised of fat and cholesterol. And 95% of the bile that your body is making, it doesn't leave the body. It goes right back up to your gallbladder. So whatever your body doesn't excrete through the bile, through the colon, will right back up to the gallbladder, and it retoxifies it. So if you cleanse your body out, you won't have to react like this later on. So it's a very proactive stance to being, to not having to be reactive to your symptoms. And literally, I teach you how to cleanse for life. We do these at least once a quarter when the seasons change. That's very Ayurvedic. That's what they were doing for thousands of years before the 1930s when the allopathy took over. And we're going to talk about things that you probably never have heard about, but that have literally helped thousands of people save themselves from losing organs, from losing the potential of the dream of having a baby, saving marriages. I'm not exaggerating. I'm saying this because if you go to thewarriorcleanse.com, you guys can see several stories of other people who have hit a wall and thought there might be nothing else they could do. People who've lost 30 pounds in a month and they tried different diets all around the world and nothing got better for them. Detox needs to be the very foundational and fundamental root of every healing strategy, be it gut healing, hormone healing, brain regeneration. It is the foundation of everything because we are exposed to hundreds of thousands of chemicals today, more than ever. And our body was not programmed to handle them. Our body was programmed to detox, but not the things that we're exposed to. So I want to share with you all these things, not just how to cleanse the body, but how to clean the environment that houses all these toxins, how to prepare your mind for the best cleanse of your life, and how to keep yourself on the detox train so that you develop a habit and you also understand what it's all for with intention so that you can truly transform. And there's also opportunities to go deeper with us. I talk about the 6 main causes why you're not losing weight. I talk about the really truly how to build your immunity through your gut and cleansing. So this whole thing feeds the whole thing. And I really hope that a lot of things I said today made sense and that you consider us, because this is where diet and detox meets also love and liberation. Because if you don't have a positive mindset through this whole thing, you're going to have shitty results. And I've seen this time and time again where we're able to finally reprogram the way that you think and approach healing. Then healing takes place super quickly, just like these women got pregnant that fast, where otherwise they were trying for years. So it's a very fertile ground for dreams, babies, opportunities, and it's a great transition. It's a great time right now because we're going to be moving forward, their plan is to have more toxins, even more. So you've got to look out for yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. And I'd love to teach you how to do that.
Yeah, well, those results speak for themselves. So, if anybody has any further questions about that, I'm sure they can read and look at all those testimonials at thewarriorcleanse.com. And, when were you planning on starting this next cleansing for people?
Yeah, I would say it's going to happen in the fall. So,
Awesome.
Sometime in September, we're going to begin. We've had a couple dates that we've announced, but I wanted to be mindful of announcing those dates because we also have my book launch, my Killer Breast book launch, coming at the same time. So by the time I'm done recording this, we will have an answer, and I probably will have recorded it either before, in the intro before this, or also just go to thewarriorcleanse.com and you will see the exact start date on there. This one, you guys, is going to be live. The price will go up after this for people who are doing it on their own. So this one, you're going to get me. You're going to get me in there supporting you. You won't always get me live. So this is going to be very special where the price is down. You're going to get me in there. You're going to have special guests live in there that won't be there every single time. So this is a very unique opportunity to start cleansing with us. And it's a great time to do it right now too, because a lot of us are wanting to figure out why we have so many symptoms and why we can't get a hold of them and how to really rebirth this new earth where healing is in your hands instead of the hands of a prescription pad. It's inside of you. And I want to help you turn on and activate that. Coming to a cleanse this fall near you, thewarriorcleanse.com. Be there, be square. We actually are capping this also. So when we hit our limit, we're going to close the doors and we don't want you to miss out. So be sure to go to thewarriorcleanse.com and you will find out more. Thank you, Jess, for keeping me on point and on target today and on flow. Everybody who is listening to this, I highly encourage you, even if you're thinking about it, don't think about it. Don't think about it to the point where you forget about it and wish that you had done this for yourself. There is no tomorrow. There is only now. And I want to help you create a better now and future for yourself by taking more charge in the moment and being able to be present with where you are versus stressing out about, having to take some kind of an energy booster for energy, or gosh, I really wish I had the energy instead of having to lay in bed all day. Truly, you can take charge of this. I used to be sick every quarter until I started cleaning my life out, my diet, detoxing, and now I don't ever get sick anymore. I haven't gotten sick for a very long time. So it's time to boost your immunity, and the best way to do that is to detox and alter your diet so it helps to support you and you have control over it versus it having control over you. And believe me, this is all very doable. I used to eat junk food as a kid too. So this is a great way to, I will help curb that. So we'll see you guys in the Warrior Cleanse. Thank you so much for being here today. And remember, ABC, always be cleansing, for the Freedom Formula, which is cleanse your body, heal your hormones, ignite your life. See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If this episode really tugged at your soul and you're ready to have your personal breakthrough, we would love to have a heart-to-heart with you to get you crystal clear on 3 things. What do you want? What's standing in your way? And how do we get you to your soul goal in the fastest time possible? Visit my site, dianekaiser.com/call to schedule your free 1-hour connection session with one of our warriors to map out exactly how you want to look, feel, and live. We've helped thousands of women warriors just like you all around the world free themselves from the symptoms and suffering they never thought possible. And you just might be our next success story. Talk soon.